Hello and welcome everyone. And this episode of E-Charcha is going to be really very, very special because I have somebody who has a rich and very, very vast experience, and that too into supply chain and operations. So today's guest for us is Mr. Jitendra Kapoor, and I'm going to read his introduction because I don't want to miss anything from his experience. So currently, Mr. Jitendra Kapoor is a national sales head for DHL Smart Trucking. He comes with a vast experience of 19 years with industries like logistics, telecom, digital business, and hospitality. And he's worked with some of the top multinational companies like DHL, Airtel, Reliance, etc. So we are going to have an interesting experience, and we're going to get a lot of insights from his professional journey and his rich experience. So welcome to the show, Jitendra. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation.
Thanks for inviting me here.
So Jitendra, it'll be great if you can know a little more about your professional journey, about your education, your background, and how did this career journey of yours started?
I started completing my MBA and doing my summer training and summer project in Taj. I got an offer from Sarovar Group of Hotels, where I joined as a sales executive. So I was one of the few which does not have a hotel background, and I came in from doing a fresh MBA. I started working in the hotel industry, worked there for 3 years, but during these years, it was a very insightful. The place where I started as a sales executive, in 1.5 years time, I became the sales manager there, or the sales and marketing manager of the entire hotel. And it keep on growing in terms of the business, in terms of the, what would you say, in terms of business, in terms of growth for me personal as well as from my team. Started as a role which was more of an individual contributor role, and it came to a team handling role. From there, in the post hospitality industry, I started working with Airtel, launched few circles with Airtel. So there was a journey with telecom, with brands like Airtel and Vodafone. And post this, got a chance in between to work for media companies as well as the digital media companies. And then I came into logistics, worked with Rivigo, and last 2.5 years has been with DHL. So I worked across the industry, worked across the locations, barring few locations in India, few metros in India, I worked across the country now.
Great. So if I would have asked you, in these 19 years and such rich experience across industry, what has been your biggest learning so far?
So I feel my biggest learning so far is, whenever you're in a position, you need to be connected with the market, and you have to go out and work with those individuals. I tell you two instances. When I started working in the hotel industry, everyone was from IHM. They know the intricacies of the hospitality, where I was plain graduate, did an MBA. So then it became difficult to understand. Then I started making friends out there, and my friends were the stewards, captain, and the housekeeping guys. So you have to be a quick learner, understand how the business happens and what the intricacies of the business, and then you come you get a level playing field with your colleagues and with your peers. In that first 6 to 8 months, it was a bit of struggle, but with the help of all these people, though they were far junior to me in terms of position, but you need to have that you car for learning, that you keep on learning. So they started telling me the intricacies of the business. I learned those intricacies of the business, which helped me in my career goal. And again, a very important thing, Rachna, which people forget. People say you have worked in one industry, you cannot move to industry. You worked in hospitality, you would be in hospitality. And so I have moved from hospitality to telecom to digital media to logistics. If everyone has that learning ability, a learning curve, and can fold their sleeves and can dirty their hands, they can work across the industry, they can work across the functions, but you have to keep your ego aside. generally होता है लोग कहते हैं कि no, I will not ask this question from my team member or who is so such a guy who's very junior in the system. But even the person who is lastly connected in the ground will give you great insights which you will not get if you're sitting in your cabin there. So you have to unlearn and then keep on learning, so that 1% improvement per day needs to play a very critical role into life, and it has played a critical role for me in my life.
Absolutely, very well said. And often we've seen this, especially with mid-career professional or people who rise in their career. They hesitate somewhere to learn from people who are at a lower position than them, and that's where somewhere these professionals start blocking their progress. Another important thing you just pointed out, that degree is just a ticket to get an entry. It's all about the skills and the learning attitude that you have. So I with my interactions with the youngsters these days, I have seen this. Once they pass out from top or premier colleges, they have a different mindset, interacting with people who may not have passed out from good schools or done their MBAs. So what is the difference have you seen, and what is your experience about it?
Difference in terms of people who have passed out from a MBA institute, which is a premier, versus a non-premier institute, you want to say?
No, my question here is that even if you have a degree from a top institute, and somebody who's just a plain graduate or maybe done an MBA, may not be a full time also, but can after 4 years, 5 years, they come to the same level, and does it depend on an attitude, and how can one develop that attitude?
So I remember two, three people clearly into my teams. And it was all about the attitude. I also had one guy who was from a premier institute. So a plain graduate with a learning attitude. And actually, so this guy know that he was a plain graduate and he has to fight and run with these guys who were the MBA. He was working more hard. He was putting in the number of hours, so people would say smart work and hard work, but it's very easy to say I will do a smart work, but I will not do a hard work. At a starting level of your career, at a mid level of your career, you cannot differentiate. There's a very thin line between a smart work and hard work. If you're not putting empty numbers of hours into your assignment, so you will not get results. So these two team members, were continuously improving themselves. They were learning new skills, and one of this guy, after 3 years of working, went through an online MBA program, got this MBA program, because into one of my organizations, if you want to grow beyond a level, the MBA was mandatory, and they grew, and they are doing fairly well in that career. See, we have been saying you should have fire in your stomach. If you have the urge and fire in your stomach, and you have that carving to grow up in your career, it does not matter whether you are from a premier institute, whether you are from an MBA. The only difference is a guy who's coming from a premier institute will get a far better package. His designations and his grades might be far better versus a guy who's a plain graduate, and you need to slog for first 2 3 years, and then it all depends. Then those degrees are just for the interview purpose, but it all depends who has performed well, how he or she has worked in their current assignment, in their current role, and who has delivered the result as per the organization requirement, and then their growth story starts.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you just mentioned that you worked across industries. So, can you just take us through, when you were changing the industry, getting into a new role, new industry altogether, what kind of challenge you faced? So that, because I have a lot of mid-career professionals who often ask me this question, that I have worked in this particular profile for these many years. Now looks, impossible for me to go and change the profile.
I'll answer your question in two parts. Generally, what candidates or what these people think that if I worked into a particular industry, I won't be able to go into a different industry. It depends how well you are preparing yourself for your interview. So you have to imagine You have to think, because someone is working in a banking and going and applying into logistics. So first he has to get hold someone from the logistics industry, or someone maybe from telecom. If he's applying in telecom or any other industry is applying, he has to make friends with someone from a different sector, understand what are the nuances, what are the intricacies of the industry, and then he or she should find a perfect fit. And then also very important is people generally don't prepare for the interview. Suppose you're going and giving an interview into one organization. What I've been telling people across, spend some time, spend at least 2-3 hours before even going and giving an interview. Just go through the company website. There might be case studies. Go and understand it, and imagine how you would fit into that role. Most of the people does not go with a proper preparation, so you're losing a 50 to 60% chance there. Once selected, you would have a notice period, might be 15 days or 13 days, or you might be joining immediately, or 2 to 3 days. Spend time understanding about that company, about the working culture, and the ops, and the few other SOPs of the organization. And when you go, you have to go with a attitude which is unlearned. I tell you, when I came to logistics for a complete different industry, first 15-20 days, I was all over the place. I was not able to understand. People were speaking gibberish to me. They were speaking some numbers, some issues which I not been able to understand. And I thought, यार ये समझ में आएगा नहीं, और ये problem बताते रहेंगे, और I would not be able to resolve the problem. So I called one of my team members. मतलब मुझे operation सीखना है. तो कहता सर operations तो रात को चलता है. So 2 to 3 nights I had spent into those hubs and pit stops to understand काम कैसे होता है. I have gone to a level as a zonal business head. It is not required कि मैं यार ट्रक से सामान उतारूं. I did some 7-10 boxes unloaded from the truck कि यार होता क्या है, स्कैनिंग कैसे होती है, सामान कैसे लोड होता है, ये प्लानिंग कैसे करते हैं. When you start, rather than sitting in the office and looking at the numbers and presentation, when you start going out in the field, after spending close to 10-12 days with different peoples in operations and doing some cold calls with those sales guys, BD to the last level, I could understand what they were saying. And then another after a month or so. So after I would say 45-60 days, I was fairly comfortable, and I was understanding, what these people were saying. And also a very important thing for a mid-career level guy, you might be having a team under you. So people would not be able to fool with you and cannot give you any excuses, because you are there to deliver those KPIs the organizations have hired you. And suddenly you find, you are all over the place, what the KPIs or how it is required to deliver a KPI. See, I believe in one thing, and I've been believing, प्रोसेस सारा सेम है, सेल्स का प्रोसेस सब कुछ सेम है. अगर आप अच्छा सेल्स वाले हो, आप एक पेन भी बेच सकते हो और आप एरोप्लेन भी बेच सकते हो. So it does not matter if your processes are well defined, if you are working, and it's something like input and output. Most of the people, what I feel and I have seen, they chase an output कि मुझे यार ये चाहिए, अरे ये चाहिए. You suppose you're delivering revenue number and you say I need to deliver a revenue of 50 lakhs a month. मुझे चाहिए, output तो है, but what is in the input? So people should always start from input. Input is the most important thing. 50 lakhs चाहिए, 50 lakhs के लिए मेरे पास कितने team members हैं, किसकी क्या territory है, किसका क्या area. Then you keep on dividing and you further start doing granular things at a granular level, and then you would be getting the results. So rather than focusing on output, if everybody start focusing on input, the results would anyway would come. May happen that you might not result achieve in first month, second month, but trust me, I have seen after 90 days, if you're working on the input, your output would definitely happen.
Absolutely. That's a very, very useful tip for people who are looking for a career change or a move into a different industry altogether.
Cricket में कहते हैं ना कि form is temporary, class is permanent. So if you are a sales guy who has his or her class, so you would get it. Don't worry about your form. You might get out for a 0 or 2 run or 5 run, but ultimately you are there to hit a century. So you will go and hit a century.
True. Okay, coming to the industry that you are from right now, so into logistics and supply chain, what are different types of career opportunities that are available in this particular industry?
Like any organization, there are mainstreams into the supply chain or logistics. You have your sales, then you have your operations, which is the backbone. Then you have your HR. then you have your finance, and then you have your IT. So basically 5 functions. So the opportunities are everywhere. Whether if you are a sales guy who's working into a sales department of a banking, of a telecom, or any other company, you can come and join logistics and supply chain management. You need to have a bend of this. So there are also categories. There's a B2B market, there's a SME business, and there is a B2C business. So you know your strength, whether you are able to handle the pressure of enterprise client, or whether you are fit for handling medium or small enterprise, or whether you are more comfortable to deal with a retail type of customer. So sales, it is like this. Then you have in operations. So operations is where the art of logistics industry is. So salespeople bring the order and operations process it. Something like in a factory, the orders come in and they're manufacturing it. So this is the hub where everything would happen. So complete network planning, transportation planning, your load planning, your shelves planning, everything would happen out here. There are multiple opportunities into this sector. And what I believe, and I've been saying that it has been proven multiple times that logistics and transportation is like recession free and COVID free industry. Even during these times of COVID, with second wave of lockdown and the second wave, still the essential commodities are moving. E-commerce is moving, and so logistics is there to support. And logistics is not something new. When during Alexander time, the Persian armies used to move. तो उन आर्मीज का मूवमेंट भी लॉजिस्टिक था. आर्मी के साथ जो हथियार जाते थे, जो खाना जाता था, जो रसद जाती थी, that was also logistics. So logistics is there from ages, and it would remain till ages. So it's a recession proof and a COVID proof business.
Yeah, that answers my question. What is one thing that is different about this industry, other than this fact that you shared, that this is an industry which remains insulated from any meltdowns, etc.?
So this is a 24 into 365 type of an industry, whether everybody need to be on their toes, especially the operations and the sales people. The people who work in operations, they work in shift, because when I say 24 hours, it's actually a 24 hours shift. People work in 3 shift during the day. If you go to any logistics hub or of any company, you see people working in night, people coming at 10 o'clock in the night, then they would have a shift till 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning. So this works 25 into 365. So you need to be very, very agile. You need to able to absorb the pressure, because it works into 24 into 365. From the sales team side, I can tell there are various verticals of enterprise as well as B2C retail. So the way of handling a retail customer is totally different versus the way you handle a CAM or an enterprise account, and the demand. So the demand from a account like enterprise would be far higher versus the demand which you have got from a normal retailer or a B2C customer. So this is a very, very agile industry, and people need to be very agile and ready to work 24 into 365.
So I often get this question from job seekers, especially somebody is fresher and looking forward to start their career into the supply chain and logistic industries. So from a recruiter's point of view, what are the competencies when you look at recruiting somebody into this industry, as a recruiter, somebody on the other side of the table? Would you want to share some tips, competencies, and some tips where help them to prepare well for the industry?
Yeah, what I can tell you about myself, there are multiple people, thousands and lakhs of people, and everybody has a different way of recruiting. See, whenever I recruit, other than the competencies, generally, whichever people come for the interview, I believe, so someone told me, see, all the people are equal. Everybody has 2 hands, 2 eyes, 2 legs. So everybody is competent enough. What I look for in job seekers is their attitude. Whether these people can learn, or whether they are coming with a baggage, and how good they can mingle with the team, and how good they are as a team player. For me, these things are very, very important, is the attitude, and second is a team player. So if a person has a great attitude, whether he or she is from any industry, does having an MBA, does not having an MBA, is a plain graduate, but he or she has a learning attitude, they are always ready to take that extra responsibility, they are ready to take and go a step further and deliver these whatever has been KPI is given of attitude. And second is, I clearly look for are the people, these guys are a team player.
Okay. So, like you mentioned, these the learning attitude. Can this attitude be improved?
Yes, see, nothing is permanent in this world. And if a person keeps on reading new books about the attitude, does a lot of positive thinking, so the attitude can always be improved. And it depends upon person to person, it is very very person specific. I have seen multiple examples in my professional life where people came from a very very humble background for a small town, plain graduate, and they have done very well and they're still doing very well, and they are at a very very senior level, earning good amount of salary. It's only because of their attitude. They were great team players, they were doing great team management, they always keep their team together and are not ashamed to take and seek help from anyone.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that. You just talked in the conversation about the 1% formula. Can you share something more about this formula with us?
So I just learned this thing 6 7 years back. I was reading a book, 1% improvement every day. So it means very if you love swimming, so there's always a scope for improvement. And like God is only perfect, no one is perfect. You keep on improving. If you are playing tennis, just keep on improving. And if you are doing a job in your particular organization, just think ways how you can improve. A 1% improvement every day would lead to 22% improvement around the year. So that is one thing, and 1% improvement only speaks about one thing. Just keep on improving. Don't ever think, and there might be a guy who has achieved all his KPIs and it's a great team member and achieved all his target, but still in his mind, if the guy would say, he would know still there's a scope of improvement. I will keep on improving. If I am keep on improving day in, day out, learning new techniques, and today world is changing very fast. What technology, what I'm using yesterday, it's no more there. The products are getting changed very fast, so people should keep on learning new skills. There are various ways they can keep on learning and new skills, and they can further grow in their lives and career.
Absolutely well said. So, having known you for many years, I know you have a great network and an influence, whichever company you worked for. So, any networking or brand building tips, influence building tips that you would want to share with our viewers?
So I would only say be a nice person. People would always remember you. Don't carry egos around. See, how you will build a network, how you build a relationship. Relationship cannot be one-sided. When you start giving to the people, people giving you back. As old as I'm still into a lot many WhatsApp group. My team, which was working with me for last 15 years, they have created a group and I've been at it, and we keep on exchanging notes. Simple things, birthday message, anniversary message. We keep on sharing good, bad, ugly, whatever one goes through in their life, and be empathetic to the people. If someone calls you, we all have our busy lives. If you are busy, you can always tell them I'm busy and call you. So with me is, if I am in a meeting, if an old team member calls me, I'm not able to pick up the call. I make sure that within 24 hours, I revert to them, maybe late in the evening or early in the morning. What I do, because if somebody has called you, they might have done it for a particular reason. So relationship cannot be one-sided. You need to travel that extra mile to build that relationship. And I would like to mention one of my bosses with whom I have worked, and I learned this skill with him. you know uh, we worked for 2 years and then he moved out. So he used to keep on calling me once in a month, how are you doing? And I learned, that's the way he's connected with so many people. And it's been 18 19 years, but still once in a while, once in a quarter, we speak with each other, and we are well connected, and he know what I'm doing in my personal life, professional life, and I know about him. So that he's retired now, but still we are very, very well connected. So relationship is like a two-way communication. It's a two-way road. It cannot happen on a one-side way where you expect the other person to keep respecting you, and you can get the best from him, but if you don't want to give best to him, the relationship will never mature and prosper in life.
True, very true. So staying connected and empathizing, I would say, are the key mantras for building great relationships and, of course, a great network. I had one question from one of my viewers. The question was, how to influence better virtually in logistic operations, and any measures that can be taken for smooth operations. Would you like to add something here?
So, operations don't happen virtually. Still, my team and my colleagues are there on the ground and deliver. A lot of other functions can happen virtually. HR can happen, finance could happen, sales could also happen. But operations, it's very difficult to happen virtually until unless you are in the top management where you have to direct the team. But most of the team members are there on the ground and delivering it. So I would say if someone at a senior level, at a mid-senior level, if he wants to, impact the operations virtually, so I say communication. These pandemic time, communication. Keep on communicating with your team on a daily basis, as and when required on an hourly basis. If you are having access to the CCTV cameras of your hubs or your spokes locations or your offices, just keep on looking, reach them out, empathize with that guy. Even of the lockdown, that guy is traveling when the public transports are closed, he travels 15-20 kilometers one side, come, and with canteens closed, food stall closed, how that guy is doing. Help them extra mile. Try to set up a pantry in your office, keep your team members, employees happy. These small things would impact your operations. Once you reach to a level where you are a team leader, where you are not executing, you are not executing directly, you're not driving the vehicles, you're not ensuring that loading and unloading is happening, you're not loading a vehicle, unloading a vehicle, you're not scanning the document. So what you can do, you can make their life more easy, more cozy. Maybe you would have a organizational cab done where they can pick up from home, they can be dropped, keeping the environment safe and secure, providing enough masks, sanitizers to them, and food at the office into these such pandemic times. So these are the small steps, small actions which would impact the operations. And your team would feel it like this, and they will go also an extra mile to deliver.
Absolutely, like rightly said by somebody, small efforts do make big difference. So one last question to you. What has this pandemic, about 1.5 year we've been living in such uncertain situation, what has it taught you? What has been a learning from this as somebody who's been in a leadership position in the corporate?
Today's situations are very, very fluid, and situations keeps on changing. So it taught us, first it came, nobody was ready. We have never thought something like this where we would be confined in our houses, there would be a lockdown. So it took us 30 days to absorb. And then you have to be very, very agile in terms of business strategy. And second important thing is communication. Keep the communication channel open with your team, even to the last member on the ground, because there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of confusion, and if you are able to have that communication channel ongoing, it will give a lot of confidence to the team members. We ensured that we provided all support to other team members who are operating. Our business plans keep on changing, so we became very, very flexible, we became very agile. The entire team went on bringing the new accounts, the operation changes way and process. And that was professionally, we became very agile, we kept all our communications open, and we became very empathetic, even more empathic towards team. And to give high regard to someone, where we are sitting in the houses, someone is traveling to the office, staying in office for 10 days to deliver their duties, empathic towards them, and obliged how these people are doing. In personal life, you have a lot of time in the hand. So I went for a course because I never had a degree in terms of logistics management. So I took some course from IIM Ahmedabad. Even I keep on doing some small certifications of various online platform, learning about digital SEO. So keep on learning new skills. Rather than doing a lot of binge watching on Netflix and Prime Video, you still can have 1 hour or 2 hours. Keep on learning new skills. That's all. And keep yourself fit. Have a daily exercise regime, routine. Whatever you can do, go for a walk, go for cycling, do some yoga. Keep it, because if you have a healthy body, you will then have a healthy mind. And remaining healthy in this pandemic time is very, very important for everyone, for you, for your family members, for your team, for your organization. And just ensure to keep enough safety. For keep on using sanitizers, social distancing, and masks. So we have become very, very agile these days.
I know change is the only constant.
Change is the constant thing. Nobody know that second wave would be so hard, and actually it is very, very hard.
True, that's true. So many people have lost their near and dear ones.
Yes,
things
yes,
are really difficult. But like you said, my biggest takeaway from this discussion is be a lifelong learner. That is something which will help you grow very fast in your career. So before we close the session, any quick advice, if you wanted to share just one piece of advice with our viewers, what would that be?
With the viewers, people who are aspiring to grow, I would say just follow the 1%, improvement every day as a mantra. And if you're going to a new industry, just unlearn. So don't carry a baggage. Or even if you are in your current organization, don't carry a baggage that I know everything. Be very, very inclusive. If you are inclusive, your team members can reach out to you, can give their suggestions. This will help them as well as you to grow and become a great team leader, become a great people manager. It's not us, it's actually the team on the ground who execute. We only plan. So be a great team member. You need to be also a team member, then you can be a team leader. If you're not a team member, you cannot become a team leader. Just keep on improving, keep on setting new benchmarks in your life, and I wish best of luck to all these our viewers. Keep on growing and reach higher professional higher professional levels in their life.
Thank you so much. It's been really, really insightful and getting to learn a lot of new things, and especially for people who are looking for career change. I'm sure this discussion is going to be very, very useful, and they're going to take out some tips which will help them grow in their career. So thank you so much for being a part of this series. In case people, our viewers, want to connect with you, if you would want to share your social media handles with them.
LinkedIn, Jitendra Kapoor. My mail ID is jitendra@hotmail.com. My reply is late. Generally, I check my personal mail only on the weekend.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much for sharing that. And once again, thank you for being a part. It was of this series. It was really, really insightful to have. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's all my pleasure.